Good morning. This is Robert Goodman here on Positive Stroke, staying clean, and I'm so happy that you have time in your busy schedule to be a part of my recovery. And I hope what I share is definitely a part of your recovery. Today, I want to talk about putting too much on your plate. You know, uh, I always use the phrase that I can chew bubble gum and still think and still do things too. You know, and that's a funny thing to say, but that's what we say in the workplace. We tend to overtax ourselves or put too much on our plate, thinking that we can handle it. But when issues, more issues about the situation comes up, it gives us more work that we have to do and less time to process what we need to do. So I remember in my active addiction, where I was doing everything to survive. I was in a survival mode 24/7, 365 days a year. I was always on guard. I was always ready for a war. I was always ready for the next situation. And what happened was I was not addressing Robert. But when I came into recovery, recovery taught me to look at myself, to focus on Robert, because Robert, you've been living wrong for a very long time, and it's time to find a new way of living. So this is a road I've never been down before. So the progress and the growth was going to take time. I had to get off that merry-go-round of survival mode for 40 years and to learn how to live one day at a time. And it takes time for you to get off that merry-go-round. We just don't change instantly. It takes time for us to process and to adapt and to change our behavior, which causes us to have to pay attention to ourselves and to do things that we're not used to doing. I understand that you have to do two or three things to get things done because you have a lack of time to do the things that you need to do. And when I'm in that mode, that's that merry-go-round road, which I was always in a survival mode, which I ran myself ragged. And when I'm running myself ragged and I'm not getting the proper rest and I'm not allowing myself to actually handle a situation in the proper manner because I'm trying to do three things at one time, what happens is I don't give enough attention to the things that I need to. I'm only giving a partial amount of attention to each situation and hoping that that's enough. But when I approach a problem in my recovery today, I'm finding out that if I don't give myself full attention to each situation, then I really don't solve the problem. What I do is I learn to put band aids on problems, and the problem pops back up worse than what it was, and another problem pops up worse than what it was, and then I'm in the same vicious cycle of trying to handle three, four, five, six things at one time. And I put more and more pressure on myself, which is causes me to miss the mark. But if I do what I was taught, one day at a time, one situation at a time, one problem at a time, things get better. When I started my recovery journey and I started doing one day at a time, one problem at a time and one situation at a time, I was completing and get rid of things that needed to be done. I was accomplishing the goals that I wanted to accomplish, but it was a slow process. But my addiction tells me I want what I want it now, and I got to have it now. And if I don't have it now, the world is going to blow up. That's just being sarcastic about it. I was giving too much emphasis on the issues and not solving the problem. I kept putting band aids on the problem, thinking that I was solving the issue, but I was making myself go through so many changes of dealing with so many issues at one time that I really didn't solve the problems. I just band-aided so I didn't have to deal with them for that particular time. But recovery taught me that I must keep myself focused. It's okay. I do what I can for a situation. Recovery taught me that I look at the problem, I do all that I can do for that problem to solve that problem. I do everything that I possibly can. And once I do that, then I let it go and give it to a power greater than me, which restored me to sanity in my active addiction. So, by me letting it go and doing all that I can, then I move on to the next problem. And I give it that much attention, that much time that it needs. And I normally find the answer to the issue because I'm giving all my attention to this one particular problem at this particular time. And I find out what I need to do to take care of the issue. And it teaches me to be grounded by solving each problem individually and not bringing it all together, and which causes me only to put a band-aid on the problem and move on to the next. And the problems never get solved. And they still live rent-free in my head, still active. But what I want to do is solve the problem. It's just like I remember a friend of mine, I believe he owed like $5,000 in tickets. You know, this is a person that we was in recovery together. And his goal, he wanted to buy himself a vehicle. He wanted to be able to drive himself around because he's been depending on other people to get him around. And he made a conscious decision to take care of that problem. He sat down and made a strong, strict budget that he was going to live by so he can get rid of that problem within 3 years. 3 years. And he was faithfully paying on it. And the interesting thing that happened is that after he had paid on it for 2 years, they went back to court and they gave him his driver's license, and he could continue to pay until he was finished because he proven himself by his constant weekly payments back to his tickets. And he did that for 2 years straight. He got his license and he worked about a week. And Then he pulled up in a new car. You could see the proud, how proud he was, the joy, the, how he felt of accomplishing that goal. I'm sharing this with you to let you understand that some of the things that we need to address is going to take time to be solved. So we do what we can to solve that problem. We make a plan so the problem can get solved. We do what we need to do for that so it can get solved. And we work on it. And once we put that plan into effect, we stay focused, laser sharp, and do what we need to do because we had a plan to solve the problem. We understood it's going to take time. We did not become an addict in one day. So remember, easy does it because we're not going to be able to solve all the problems that our addiction has gave us, the things that we did to ourselves and others. It's going to take time to solve the issues that we created in our addiction. And the interesting thing I'm learning about my issues is that they're deeper than what I thought they were. Because as you have time being clean and sober and you're working on yourself, you start to take away the layers of the issues and the problems and the situations that diverted you from your primary purpose of living your best life or having the life that you so desperately deserve. And I see just how broken Robert is. See, the more I work on myself and clean the wreckage of my past, and I'm cleaning the wreckage, I'm coming up with more issues and situations in my past that affected me so deeply and hurt me so tremendously that I didn't realize because I buried it so deep within inside me. So as I clean the wreckage of my past, these other things are going to pop up and make me feel a certain way or act a certain way. And by me being in recovery, I can identify what's happening with me because I'm paying attention to me. Another thing that happens is that I learn to realize just exactly how situations have affected me so deeply that I really didn't know. But as I stay in my recovery, working on Robert, I learn more about Robert and the effects and the situations that happened to Robert that caused him to feel and act the way he does. You know, I thought I knew myself. When I came into recovery, I thought I knew myself. I can't help but know myself because I'm with myself every day. But that's an untrue statement because I realized in my recovery how I hid the emotional and mental pain that hurt me so deeply, deep inside myself. And as I'm cleaning the wreckage of my past, identifying with these issues and learning how to work through them, these other things are coming out of me. It's letting me recognize these things that I had so deeply embedded in myself because it was so painful. And I realized that we're all recovering from something. Everybody's recovering from something, from the past, from issues that happened in their lives. We all are. And some of us was able to deal with it, learn from it, and grow. Other than some of us didn't learn from it. It was painful. It was so hurtful that we hid it. We stuffed it. We didn't want to feel it. We didn't want to identify to it. We didn't want to have no connection with it because it was that painful. It was that hurtful. So we stuffed those feelings. And I realized in my recovery is that when I stuff my feelings, my emotions and things, then I'm not hurting nobody else but Robert. I have to let these things go. I have to feel the pain. I have to understand why I'm feeling that way, why it's affecting me in this manner, and learn from my mistakes. Not get caught up in the pain. You know, they did this to me. If I get caught up on what they did, then it begins to live rent free in my head. And when it lives rent free in my head, that means it's going to be messing with me over and over and over and over again. And I choose not to live like that anymore. So, in my recovery, there are times when I have to face the unthinkable, and that's the issues and the pain and the remorse of situations that happened in my past. I have to let myself feel the pain, feel the hurt. I have to let it out of myself because that's the only way I can move forward and not let it live rent free in my head. I must go through the situation. There's no shortcuts. I thought it was simple. You do 12 steps, man, and you're good. You can stay clean and sober forever. But that's not the case. It's learning how to live life on life's terms. It's learning to keep the focus on yourself. It's learning how to not overtax yourself and try to handle 1,000 things at one time. And another thing, just because I'm enjoying recovery, working on myself, and my life is getting better, that I'm not super recovery man. I'm not Superman. I'm not Batman. I'm not the Hulk. I'm just another person overcoming the issues and the mistakes I've made in my past and working through, understanding the pain, why I feel the way I do, why it affects me the way I do, way it does, and how I can move forward, allowing myself to go through it. I learned that stuffing it makes you keep it, live rent free in your head. But when I go through the pain and the remorse, when an issue looks like that and pops back up, I may feel a certain way, but I don't act in that manner that keeps me into letting it live rent free in my head. I get that signal to identify what it is, understand the pain, why I feel the way I feel. And what I'm doing is I'm learning to understand myself, how I feel, my actions, and my deeds. And the more attention I put on Robert to understanding Robert, the better I become. the better I'm able to live my life in the best way. The topic is putting too much on your plate. And you have to clean the wreckage of the past so you have room to put stuff on your plate. You can't change unless you understand yourself for the actions that you did in the past. And then also when you look back, you got to look back at the age that you was when you did what you did. You have to look at the frame of mind that you was in and the way you saw life at that particular time. You're looking at yourself through new glasses, older, wiser, and you're getting the understanding of who you was and how the situation affected you so much at that particular time in your life. That's learning how to understand yourself, and you will grow to love yourself in the proper way. I hope what I shared with you makes you sit back and not try to solve all your problems in one shot. We didn't become an addict in one day. So remember, easy does it. We're only human. We make mistakes. So get the right information, the right answers to the situations that you need to face for yourself and to overcome. Try taking one problem, solving what you can do, solve the problem, or if you can't solve the problem, do what you can to solve that problem. And it probably will take you time to solve that problem. Understand that in your mind, that you're not going to be able to solve that problem right away, but you can work and chip on that mountain, chip on that big mountain, that big old problem. You could chip on it, and eventually it will disappear. One day at a time, one situation at a time. Sunday's Father's Day, and I said a little bit about that yesterday, and I'm going to share a little bit about it today. Is that if you came from active addiction into recovery, and you're a father, pat yourself on the back. Be proud of what you've accomplished because it took a lot for you to face your fears and choose recovery. Yes, you know you have a long road ahead of you, but be proud that you're making the steps to be the father, the husband, the friend, the family member that everyone respects. Some of us will get blessed by family members embracing us and taking us into their womb of love and happiness, a part of the family. And then there are cases that it will never happen because of the damage we've done in our addiction. It's okay because you've done what you needed to do for yourself. You don't have control over people, places, or things. People choose to want you in their life. That's their choice. I know it hurts. because I go through it. Every year, I cry. I feel the upset. I feel the pain because my lack of connection with my son. But I understand how we got here. I understand how I got here. The truth. And the truth set me free. The truth taught me to accept it. I may not like it, but I'm learning to accept it. I'm learning to live life on life's terms. I'm learning to live with the choices people choose to make. That hurts me. But I'm not going to use that as fuel to reunite my addiction and let that pain live rent free in my head. I did that for 40 years, and I will not do that to myself again. I learned to accept what I've done to myself and others. I learned to live with it, the choices I made. I don't like it. I wish it wasn't like that, but I learned to live with it because I understand my frame of mind I was in at the particular time that I was making these choices. That I was messed up emotionally, mentally, plus my addiction. I was surviving. I was in the survival mode. I couldn't get up that merry-go-round because I knew nothing about life at a young age. But I was thrown out there into the world, and I had to learn to survive. So I was in survival mode for all my young adult life. And then when I even got older too, it's like a merry-go-round that I never got off until I honestly got into recovery, that I honestly worked the program of recovery, that I honestly did what I needed to do so I can live my best life. For Robert to live his best life, he has to do the work on himself. He can't con, he can't manipulate, he can't play the game, he can't do none of that because the person that it hurts is Robert. So Robert has to be honest, open with himself, understand what's going on around him, and protect his peace and his happiness. I hope you have a great Father's Day. There are a lot of mothers out there that took the job of Mother's Day and Father's Day because the father wasn't there. So they should get recognition for standing in for the father. Show them some love on Father's Day. The mothers that, single mothers that were there for you, show them love on Father's Day because they were there for you when your father wasn't. They was holding two hats, mother and father, doing the best that they can. So show them love and appreciation. Also, don't be so hard on the father because we don't know what he was going through. We don't know his life and his life choices and why he chose to do what he did. So allow them, if they choose to connect with you, connect with them. You don't have to operate from the past. Start with today. Connect and see where it leads you. Because we all go through things and we do the best that we could to solve the issues of our lives. It doesn't mean that our choices are right. It means we do the best we can for ourselves. We handle our pain and our disappointments. Everybody handles them differently. They deal with their decision making differently. We all make bad choices. And the Bible says, "You without sin cast the first stone." And I made a lot of mistakes. And I still make mistakes. So I can't cast a stone at someone else when I truly make mistakes. I hope you have a great day. And remember, you're the most important person to yourself. So put yourself first so you can live your best life. You have a great and wonderful day.